Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our session during the lunchtime. I believe the lunch is as great as usual, so let's finish this session early and go to lunch. Okay. My name is Yoshiyuki Nakai. I joined Rakuten in 2010 and worked as a DNS administrator for some years. This year, I moved to private IaaS administration team. And there, Shuichiro Makigaki joined Rakuten in 2012. He has been working on introducing OpenStack to Rakuten since last year. Okay, both of us are from Ops of DevOps at Rakuten. So let me introduce the mission and organization of Rakuten's Ops department. And organization of Rakuten's Ops department and Rakuten's current private IaaS and its problems. And Shuichiro explains the design and implementation of our new IaaS platform and shows you some use cases and our community activities. Okay, let's start. Our mission is to protect business value by maximizing availability and quality of service. At the same time, speed and agility is as important as availability and quality. That is our mission. Next, Ops is divided in three major functions at Rakuten. First, site operations builds and support applications operation. They are busy communicating with many dev teams. Next function is platform. Platform provides server, storage, and tool for site operations. Shuichiro and I belong to this platform section. And finally, infrastructure provides data center and network. Basically, dev people need to access our platform and infrastructure through site operations function. Okay, let's go on to private IaaS. Sorry, okay. Private IaaS is one of the most important platforms of Rakuten Ops. We provide in-house developed management console shown in the bottom. For site operations appeared in the previous organization diagram. Let's start from the top left one. There is a server virtualization features. Operators can create, delete, and change capacity of virtual machines. Next, there are also network features. For example, operators can set VLAN to switch ports, change access control on firewall, configure server load balancing, and modify DNS records. For this function, various kinds of appliances has been wrapped by the management console. Let me look back our server virtualization history. We began server virtualization with Zen Hypervisor, and the number of instances reached around 2,000. Then we migrated to VMware ESXi-based server virtualization. Currently, the number of instances exceeds 20,000. As you can see, this year, we added KVM-based environment to our IaaS, but we chose OpenStack as management tool. In other words, we did not choose our in-house management console for some reasons. This is the problems now we are facing of private IaaS. First one, GUI and API have been independently developed by each group of Ops department, but they are incomplete and lacking consistency. Some features have no API, unfortunately. That is why developers and operators have to give up full automation. Next problem is about multi-tenancy. Rakuten has literally hundreds of services operated by different teams. So without multi-tenancy features, it is impossible to permit self-service operations. So we might be able to develop perfect GUI, API, and multi-tenancy by ourselves, but from our experience, developing management feature from scratch takes so much time and human resources. Okay. And the last one, fortunately, as our IaaS is becoming stable and reliable, the number of instances is rapidly growing. So we can no longer ignore the high cost of hypervisor's license. Here is our solution. Our solution is introducing OpenStack on KVM. OpenStack's consistent API will promote more automation, and multi-tenancy will enable self-service operation. Using management features developed by open source community will reduce the cost. In turn, we would like to contribute to the community instead of working too much hard on our closed platform. As you know, VMware products have really attractive features. We do not stop using them so far, but we are trying to find a new way using KVM, which is license-free hypervisor. Okay, here. For those of you unfamiliar with OpenStack, let me explain OpenStack. OpenStack is open source software for creating a cloud environment. Here are the major components of OpenStack. You can choose the components depending on your needs and start to build your own cloud environment. OpenStack software controls large pools of compute, storage, and networking resources, etc. And users can manage them through a dashboard or OpenStack API. What OpenStack good is, OpenStack works with popular existing technologies like listed here. That allows you to introduce OpenStack without replacing your favorite technologies. This is the final part of my presentation. From here, Shuichiro explains our new platform in detail. Please go ahead.
Hey, I'm Maki. So from here, I'd like to show the internals of Rakuten OpenStack. But before that, do you know OpenStack? Oh. So are you using OpenStack? Very few. Okay. So Rakuten is one of our pioneers. So, from here, I'd like to show the internals of Rakuten OpenStack. As Nakai-san explains, OpenStack consists of many components. In Rakuten, at least 10 servers are running to start OpenStack. To achieve higher availability, API servers are running under load balancers. In each server, there are 1 or 2 processes. As OS image backend, we are using RareFS. RareFS is an object storage system, and it has S3 compatible API. It is developed by Rakuten Institute of Technology. So I think a session of RareFS is planned in today's afternoon, so please attend it. Monitoring OpenStack is a very important issue for us. To monitor OpenStack, we are using Splunk. Splunk allows us to visualize machine metrics very beautifully. So Splunk is used for alerting, for example, email or something. It is very useful. So from here, I'd like to talk about the internal use case of OpenStack. First one is for the new alias platform of Rakuten. This is our first release OpenStack cluster. Now we have 2 years platform, so developers can choose KVM or VMware. OpenStack version is Liberty, which is latest stable version. Cinder is not available actually, so we did version up to Liberty very recently, so actually in this week. So version up is very difficult and very interesting topic, but in this time that is out of scope. Our OpenStack environment is split into 3 regions: development, staging, and production. Production has 3 availability zones. For fault tolerance and to achieve higher availability, Cinder is not available, and users cannot use shared storage. So users have to consider virtual machines down and have to deploy instances in multiple availability zones. In development environment, over 100 instances are running only on only 3 hosts. That means commit ratio is over 500%. Under our OpenStack, we use KVM on Ubuntu, QM 2.3 and Libert 1.2. OpenVSS version is 2.4. They are much stable than I expected, so performance does not become a problem for now. To get better performance, we enabled BART.io framework as Paravirtual driver. BART.io framework makes ring buffers between a guest OS and QM. So it can reduce context switch of Linux kernel. vHostNet is also enabled on compute host. This increases network performance. Like BART.io, vHostNet makes buffers between guest OS and host Linux kernel. In addition, virtual machines are running on local SSD. Now, storage system is not a bottleneck. However, as OpenStack user, networking is still the biggest problem. Currently, we are not using layer 3 feature of OpenStack. Just because we don't need it. Routing is handled by our appliance hardware. All instances are running in the same layer 2 network. The layer 2 network is tagged VLAN network. So all tenants share the same network. Next use case is crowdfunding. So I'd like to ask, do you know crowdfunding? Few. This is PaaS, one PaaS system. So we are using crowdfunding for our PaaS environment. Actually, we have second largest crowdfunding platform in the world. We are planning to run crowdfunding version 2 on our OpenStack platform. Technically speaking, we create a new tenant and networks for PaaS team, compute hosts are shared with others. Now, 5,000 instances are running on VMware for running CloudFoundry version 1. And applications will be moved to CloudFoundry version 2. Okay, there are actual use cases. Okay, next topic is about community activity of Rakuten. Rakuten is not just an OpenStack user, but also sometimes Rakuten is a small contributor. This is big news for Rakuten. Rakuten made a keynote speech at OpenStack Summit. So I would like to again. Do you know OpenStack Summit? Oh, many people know it. So OpenStack Summit is the biggest conference for OpenStack users and developers. You can see this video on YouTube. But please don't see YouTube on Rakuten's Wi-Fi. In addition, we participate many sessions or conferences. So these two photos show contributor training in Atlanta and the below is Japan. We start to contribute OpenStack development from this point, I think 2014. The training is imported to Japanese in Japan. I joined it as mentor. And yeah, media exposure should be noted. Basically, community activities are encouraged unless they don't affect user works. Yes, I said Rakuten is a small contributor. This means we are writing codes. We are OpenStack user usually, but sometimes we are developers. If we encountered a bug and functionality, we fix it and back it to community. We don't like making fork version very much. So we wrote over 300 lines of codes. I don't remember how many bugs we fixed. I think there are about 20 commits, I think. Lastly, I'd like to show you the roadmap. The first one is Cinder support. Currently, we don't have Cinder. However, some users want to use bigger storage. To be honest, we don't want to install Cinder because shared storage often becomes bottleneck and maybe single point of failure. Of course, open source software is very good candidate. Do you know Safe? Oh, very famous. Yes, Safe is one of distributed block storage system. Safe is a good candidate for Cinder as well. So other network services are also valuable for us. For example, load balancer service and DNS as a service. OpenStack has projects for these services, and we are very interested in them. Load balancer service allows us to implement automatic scale out at peak traffic. It is very interesting. We cannot forget to talk about object storage service. We are considering object storage service for archiving. Archiving means storing backups, OS images, and logs, and so on. There are many object storage systems in the world, but OpenStack Swift is a good candidate from the viewpoint of OpenStack integration. Yes, OpenStack is open source software. We have many challenges actually, but that does not mean tough. So that is exciting. That is fun. If we write codes, the community is always with us. That is about OpenStack at Rakuten. Thank you for listening. If you have some questions, please ask us. But time for lunch now. Thank you.